So what's up, everyone? I thought I'd make another video about places that are possibly haunted, which I know they're haunted, uh, and I thought I would show you a little bit of what I've I know to be haunted. Anyways, are my eyebrows on fleek? Just making sure. Anyways, well, this place is haunted, and I'll show you why, and I'll tell you why. This is an alleyway in the Lee district of our downtown area. Now, this alleyway has been around since the early 1800s, and it's been revamped and everything and remodeled. But the reason why I'm drawn to this specific spot is because, I can't do this at nighttime because I might get caught by the cops and they might take me around, but I don't want to risk that. But this area is haunted by like children. There were a lot of children in this area during I would say the early 1800s to the 1900s. I believe they hung out over here because I've heard children laughing at nighttime when I'm rolling through here. And although the buildings are somewhat new, a lot of these structures did not exist during the early 1800s to the 1900s. And so I feel like that there are a lot of children who had stayed in this area. Some of them were used in white slavery situations. Now we're talking about the early 1800s to about 1900s. So white slavery usually entailed a lot of prostitution. Children were often prostituted during those time periods in America. So it was common. But I also see, kids who were used as cheap labor and child labor that use this area. There's a lot of people who have used this alleyway for various purposes, for commerce, because everything on this side has always been about businesses. They've always done businesses over there, and a lot of the ramshackle places no longer exist. But I'm going to take you down further if I can get across. I notice that everything's being rebuilt in this district. When you start seeing older structures like this, it's like from the 1920s, where I've heard that people have had apparitions in their stores that they have seen. Now that's a UMB bank. That is also, I believe, to be haunted because I've seen odd things there, but I'm not sure if I can go in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down a little further. I'm taking you down a little further. This is the UMB bank. Now I know this place is haunted by people who worked for the corporation and families that had used to own it. Let me take you down here. There's all this construction going on right now in the downtown area, so most of these structures are going to be torn down because they're outdated. But that's a UMB bank. That place is haunted for sure, because it was built during the early part of the turn of the century. Let's see if I can get a shot of it. That was built during the early part of the century. You can see by the Art Deco structures and architecture, it's all Art Deco. But I believe there are spirits of the family that had owned it. But when you go down here, this place is usually where most of the commerce had taken place. And if you look up towards these structures, you'll see that there were windows in these top areas where people would hoist up goods and consumer goods and items and products so that they can be reshelved in the stores. And families lived up there because families had lived in many of these places. But there's one spot I want to take you to. Like I said, I've heard stories of people saying that their businesses may have been haunted. Well, a lot of that is attributed to the early 1800s to the 1900s, and possibly up to the present day, of people who have occupied these buildings. But I'm hoping that there are some walled off structures that I can kind of show you. As you can see, like, a lot of these buildings are so old that some of these buildings, when they were first occupied, they would like send stuff up into the windows so that they could restock their shelves and everything. There used to be, let's see, yeah, like this place gets me the most. I don't know if it's occupied, but as you can see how all these arched windows are old. Now, sometimes I see like spirits like sticking their heads out and screaming down to the people below, telling them, you know, whoever, you know, they're calling out to whoever, like Johnny or Louis. But most of these are like immigrants from like Germany. They sound like they're from Germany or from Italy, or but primarily Germany. But a lot of these structures have been rebuilt, as you can see, but what remnants are left of them still exist, like the stories of how old they were, and the back alleys. I don't know how old that is. It looks like it's from the 70s, but as you can see, a lot of this in the back area were used for commerce all through. And you see a lot of the ghost activity that is still around here. Like I said, a lot of people from that time period had used the back alley back and forth to bring in goods into their stores and to resupply everything. But these places are probably have some type of residual haunting or some type of ghostly activity, because at nighttime this alleyway seems a lot more active than it does during, say, in the morning time. Like, I've been down this alley and I've heard like strange noises, like people calling out from the buildings, I guess, or what have you. But a lot of these people that still haunt these places, these spirits, I would say they're from, like, especially here, from the 1800s, early 1800s, or late 1800s to 1900s, when they start building these more solid structures. But before then, I can tell you that this used to be more of a dirt path than it is. I think they just built the stone way or the brick way in the past, I would say 80 years, maybe 90 years, because it looks fairly new. But the structure of these buildings here, and with their unusual artwork, I would say there's still some possible activity that exists. I would say definitely like the ghost of German immigrants, because sometimes I can hear like this really old sounding German language that has like a weird sound to it. It's nothing like modern German, but I'll take you down here and I'll show you real quick how this whole place has changed, and it's no longer how it used to be. But everything has changed all through here. They've like remodeled everything, and so you're not gonna, I mean, you'll get some like possible old style architecture up through here, but the vast majority of the activity, I would say, the spirit activity and the ghost activity and the paranormal activity, would be in the back area. So say if a ghost investigation team wanted to do some paranormal investigation work, I would say come down to the back alley area throughout this part, because this is where you're going to find most of it. And like I said, up there at the very far end, I had to go around. That's where you'll find a lot of, I don't know, I get child spirits in that area. Like there's something about that area where it seems like a lot of kids used to play and hang out. And it used to be like an area where they used to hang out, like I would say the early 1800s to the 1900s, somewhere between the early 1900s. But yeah, some of these old structures, I believe, are still hold some type of activity that wouldn't normally, before they tear all these buildings down and remodel them. I'm sure there's going to be activity in them, but the vast majority are going to be in these buildings here, where the old German and the Swedish immigrants and possibly even Italians had lived in. I don't think there were too many Italians, but I know there's a high density of German and Swedish people that have lived in Salina. Once again, I'll go back here. Yeah, what I see a large heavy-set woman. She looks like she has black hair. She's like screaming out of this window. Down over here to people over in this area, and she's calling out to them. So I feel like the activity was a lot up in the upper half, because like she's screaming out to the kids and the families and the people she knew, and down here was like her storefront, but on the front side it's nothing like what it is on the back side. So that's one spot. This is one spot at Salina that I know is haunted. I might do the UMB bank, which is right there, because I feel like that was also haunted, but it was created by a very rich family that lived in Salina. There's more activity in there. I've been in there and I picked up 3 ghosts. One was a little boy who says that that's his building, that his daddy is building that building for him and it will be his someday. And then there's another ghost of a woman who had worked there maybe during the 80s. When I go in there, I hear her clicking her heels, like when she walks. You know how women walk with heels and they're like click, 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 click on the ground? I always hear her, and she liked to wear red or something, but I feel like she was of the 80s time period, and I can't remember another one. So that's what I think. I think this alleyway is haunted. So should you ever come to Salina and you're looking for spots that are possibly haunted, this is called the Lee District. And yeah, see the German immigrants, I can hear them talking up there, like they're talking, but that's like from the 1800s or something, like mid 1800s. I hear them talking, and they're talking really loudly. So anyways, that is a quick look at another spot in town where I can pick up paranormal activity and spirit presences in these old buildings. But like I said, as far as here, it's a little harder to do that because this is like the open area of Salina, and it's being remodeled, a lot of these places, but I still think it's like a stomping ground for some paranormal activity too. So a lot of these places are shut down, and that's how it just is. So anyways, you guys have a good day, and I guess I'll talk to you later in my next video and show you another spot if I can get away with it without getting in trouble with the Salina PD. So they'll stop you for anything, and so I don't want to take that chance. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and you guys have a good day. Bye.